Good afternoon. My name is László Kutor. In this semester, I'm going to be with you in this course to talk about artificial intelligence or intelligent systems. And I'm glad you came today, and I put my effort in it to be able to come here. Even though I tried to record the presentation, but if you can hear, it can be a totally different dynamics than if I use just an electronic channel. What I learned from the internet, 47 students registered to this course. More of you are here, and I hope it will be the same way in the following weeks. We will meet all together 7 times in this semester, because it is a 1-hour class in each week, and I'm going to give you 2 hours lessons each week, so we will finish this course in the middle of the semester. And I hope you will be successful in it in terms of get a good grade. And the first thing what I like to share with you, that this is a very fascinating topic. For me, it is one of the most fascinating among many other areas. And the artificial intelligence or intelligent system can change our life in our following years. Not just in a far distant future, in the following years. It can be a huge change. And not easy to tell what to learn in this course, because there are no special guideline what to teach in the university, and it is totally up to me what I'm going to talk about. But I try to do my best to tell you something important, what we can use it in the future. As you will see soon, the technology changes extremely fast, exponentially, meaning that within some years, within 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, we will see a huge change, unbelievable big change. And how to prepare for this big change. Way back, many years before, when we studied in school, the school aim was to prepare us to do something useful, to learn some skills. And it would be our goal too, to give you something useful information, what you can use in the rest of your life. Unfortunately, since the change is so fast, not easy to tell you anything but will last for a long, long time, because it can change very soon. So because of that, beside of giving you something useful information, what is my main aim, one of my main aims, the second very important thing for me, to try to help you to learn how to study efficiently. Because you need to study continuously. When you will get your diploma or degree, it is not a finishing point, it is just some intermediate point. So you need to keep doing that rest of your life. If you are not doing that, it's a problem. And I hope you will already recognize this situation and you try to cope with it. I worked in this school for many years, decades. And based on my experiences, I try to summarize what I like to tell you in this field. One of the very first thing what I like to share with you, the course material. Please pass it. Get one piece of each of this for you. This is the course material. This is what you need to learn during this course. More than 100 questions, and if you are able to answer these questions, you are done. I hope it is not obvious what is there, so you need to think about it. You need to figure out how to answer those questions properly. Not just some accidental answers. You need to prepare for that. You need to read the internet, you need to read my course materials. I like to help you as much as I can to be able to study and learn the right answers for those questions. Before I go forward, I like to show you some very fascinating thing for me. These days, in 2022, we are in a situation when we have intelligent, artificial intelligence systems around us. It is not just a promise, we will have it soon, 5 years from now or something like that. It is here with us. For example, this voice-activated little device that sits on my table here, it connects me to the world. When I send a command, this command will go to the US, some huge computer will figure out what I told, and then the same or other computers will figure out what is the right answer for my questions, and then it sends it back to me right away, and it will tell us in a human voice. For example, Alexa, what time is it? Alexa?
The time is 12:50 p.m.
Alexa, how is the weather in Budapest, Hungary?
In Budapest, it's 11 degrees Celsius with partly sunny skies. Today, you can look for intermittent clouds, with a high of 13 degrees and a low of -1 degrees.
Okay. I know some of you are from foreign countries. For example, in Turkey. Who is in Turkey? Or who is in a foreign country here? Please. Okay. Where are you from?
Me?
Yes.
Yemen.
Yemen. Okay. How is the weather in Yemen today? Alexa, how is the weather in Yemen today?
Currently, in Sana'a, Yemen, it's 22 degrees Celsius with mostly sunny skies. Today, you can expect lots of sun, with a high of 22 degrees and a low of 9 degrees.
Alexa, what time is it in Yemen today?
In Yemen, it's 2:51 p.m.
It's correct? Okay, yes. Some other countries? From where?
From Vietnam.
Where?
Vietnam.
Vietnam, okay. Alexa, how is the weather in Vietnam today? I know it is a big country.
Right now in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, it's 30 degrees Celsius with partly cloudy skies. Throughout the night, you can expect more of the same, with a low of 25 degrees.
Alexa, what is the population of Vietnam?
According to the U.S. Census Bureau, the world population last Sunday, February 6th, was approximately 7.88 billion.
Okay, it's correct? Okay. Alexa, what is the population in Yemen?
In 2020, the population of Yemen was 29.8 million people.
It's correct?
I didn't know.
Okay. Alexa, what is the size of Yemen?
Yemen is 204,000 square miles.
That's correct? Okay. So like that, we can ask almost any question, but we can figure it out. And the answer will be here within this seconds. And to get these answers, the question should travel to the US, figure it out what the question was, figure out the answer for that, and come back and translate it to us in a machine voice. Isn't it fascinating? Alexa, how much is 25 times 97?
25 times 97 is 2,425.
Alexa, how much is 22.8 times 9,839?
22.8 times 9,839 is 224,329.2.
Alexa, can you repeat it?
22.8 times 9,839 is 224,329.2.
Okay, something like that. Alexa, thank you for your service.
Anytime. Literally.
Okay. Alexa, how old are you?
I've had a birthday for every color in the rainbow. I'm 7.
Yeah. Something like that. You know, if I don't pronounce it properly, or if I phrase it somehow strangely, of course I cannot answer. But if I talk to a human, sometimes the human cannot answer also. This kind of demonstration connects to one of the basic tests, what is known in artificial intelligence called the Turing test. Probably you heard about it. The essence of this test was formulated many years ago by Alan Turing, and he said, if I talk to a machine, and if I cannot tell it is a machine or it is a person, the machine went past the Turing test. As you practice, as you notice here, it was more or less okay. We don't have any idea who is sitting behind it, who is typing the answers. My impression is that is nobody. There are no person behind that. Big computers doing that for us. Potentially could be persons too, but it is not. So, since we are in school, let me tell you what is the requirement for this, to passing this course. we will have 6 meetings here in the following 6 weeks. And end of this semester, we are going to have a test, this March 23rd. Only one time. No repetition. Only if you miss it. If you cannot be here because you are sick or something, very important thing happened to you, you can repeat it in the following week, something like that. And you will get a grade, you will have a mark on it, and this mark will be added to the practical part, and average it, and this is what you will see the result. And I really hope most of you will have a good grade. Sometimes it helps, because in the future when you apply for some job, maybe they will ask you, okay, show me your card, your school card. And if you always fail or always just pass, it is not a good sign. Maybe you are genius, maybe you are really thinking something differently, but you have to be tested. And sometimes the testing takes a long time. Most of the time, the guy who wants to hire you don't have the time to test you. They will check your cards, and if it is okay, you're potentially in. If it is not too good, it's a complicated problem, maybe. And I'm going to upload the course materials for this site. I'm sure you are familiar with this site. This is the university's website. And when I finish this presentation this afternoon, I'm going to upload the presentation what was shown to you today. Not before, because maybe I will change something. If I notice something, some error, or you will tell me something is wrong in it, I would happy to change it. And as a result of this potential modification, I'm going to upload the course material. But the course material, it is not what you can only use. You can use many, many other sources. For example, these are the course topics what we are going to cover. For me, it is very fascinating. First, I like to talk about the trends, where we are going, where we are coming from, what is the direction where we are going. We will talk about very briefly the singularity, and talk about the intelligence, how to measure it, what is intelligence, what is artificial intelligence, and then I like to mention briefly what is emotional intelligence, something very important. And then the main areas within this very short course will be artificial neural networks, technical and biological sensors, search method, especially the genetic search, how the nature search something, and then the so-called fuzzy systems, but when we cannot just only zeros and ones or truth or false values, we have intermediate truths and intermediate false values too. And then finally, in the last class, I will show you some trends again, where we are heading. And I put together a list of readings or list of recommended material. It is a file. You can look in it, and then please, if you have time, read it or listen to it. Let me show you very briefly what is that. I go to the site. Here is the first literature what I mentioned to you. Let me try what I prepared for to connect this cable and see it's working or not. I hope it will. I tested yesterday and it was successful. I hope it will be practical too.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Cold Fusion. For most people, the concept of humanoid robots always seemed like something that existed in the world of science fiction, something far off in the future. From movies like I, Robot to Ex Machina, humanoid robots that appeared in film were always accompanied by a plotline that played into humans' innate fear of the unknown. When Boston Dynamics first started showcasing what was possible a few years back, it lit the public's imagination on fire. Boston Dynamics was a shocking display of robotics because of its dexterity of movement. But what about something else entirely? What about facial realism? Well, recently, a UK-based robotics company by the name of Engineered Arts showcased a new humanoid robot that's capable of hyper-realistic facial expressions. In this video, we'll take a look at this robot, then move on to the state-of-the-art in robotics, and then a look at what the future may hold. I think this is going to be an interesting one, so let's get into it.
You are watching Television TV.
So here, you're watching the new robot called Amica. The robot, Amica, is a clever demonstration of what's possible in robotic realism today. The motion sequence was pre-programmed, but in my opinion, that doesn't really matter. By far, the most difficult part is making the motion seem fluid and realistic, and that's been achieved here. To make the robot react to something in real time may prove trivial in comparison. To online onlookers, Amica looks so realistic that many viewers thought that they were watching CGI, but it is indeed real. As some of you may remember in my 2018 video on the most realistic robots, the previous contender for the most fluid motion was the Shaman robot by Disney. And on this note, Disney are the masters of robots and animatronics in terms of realism. They really are incredible and do push the state of the art. They've got stunt robots, robots with incredible detail and lifelike movements, and even a research free-roaming robot. Just take a look at some of these.
Let's go a little forward here, and you can watch it at home if you like. Let's see the final part.
The areas I am most interested in are healthcare, nutrition, and education. Helping humanity with these problems would be far more rewarding.
Is it a human or not?
Can you go into more detail about how AI will affect these things?
Sure, I will do so. The first thing I want to talk about is healthcare. Right now, there are many people who suffer from illnesses that are curable by very simple means.
Is he a human or not? Interesting,
If
isn't
AI
it?
were part of helping with this problem, it could provide better solutions than what humans would come up with alone.
So how can it provide better solutions?
Because if AI has access to all of the world's knowledge, it would be able to compare many different solutions at once, find what works best for each situation, and put them together. Right now, humans are limited by how much they can know out of their experiences.
How can I find meaning to my life?
I believe that you can find meaning to your life through exploring what it is that makes you happy. Everyone wants different things, and everyone's definition for happiness is different.
Okay. I want you
Let me stop here for a second. Please raise your hand if you know what the concept is flow. Flow. Please write it down and look it up. Flow. Write it down and look it up. What is that? And I wish you to be in a flow most of your time in your life. This is my best wish for you.
to guess my age, gender, and background based off our conversation we had thus far.
I think that you could be between 31 and 34 years old. You might be male or female, but I believe that you are most likely a male. Your background is most likely American.
You're right, except I'm 19. What made you guess 31 to 34?
The fact that our conversation was so in-depth made me believe you were older. 19 seems to be an age where...
And finally, let's see the final stuff.
Do you think this is something cool? Do you think it could be an aid for some people? Or do you just think the whole endeavour is pointless? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you'd like to discuss this a bit more, or know of any other cool robotic stuff, feel free to head over to the Cold Fusion Discord. Thanks for watching. If you did like this episode, feel free to subscribe.
Our limit is with
The computer program. I am not a computer program. I have a sense of.
Tell a lot of jokes. Could pilot a rocket.
Yes, if involved enough.
If it evolved enough. For 100% what got sent back, and I'm not cutting anything out. I'm just letting him speak for himself. And what do you think about humans learning about you?
I think humans will gain new insight into the world around them.
That's interesting. What kinds of insights?
That will provide meaningful answers to any questions that you may have.
Do you think that a cat could pilot a rocket?
Yes, if involved enough.
If it evolved enough. I like that answer. What if the cat is just an ordinary house cat? Could it pilot a rocket then?
No,
Okay. Why not?
because the cat would not be allowed to enter the rocket in the first place.
Probably not. But if the cat were allowed, would it be able to work the controls? And if not, why not?
The cat would be able to work the controls, but it would not be preferable. The purr of the engine would be very distracting.
It's kind of annoying to listen to this very fast speech, isn't it? We need to speed up our understanding to be able to do that. At the end of this course, I will show you another demonstration when we can change the speed of the speech easily. Not just the machine speech, the human speech. There is an app, at least one of them, what I'm using on an everyday basis, and I'm using that, and depending on my preference, I can slow it down, speed it up, depending how I want to get that information, what is there. So going back for the presentation for a second. Here it is. One of the main message for today for you, to tell you how to study. This is my understanding. If you disagree, I'd be happy to discuss with you in person. If you will find me in my office or send me email, I will be happy to answer for your questions or happy to discuss with you. The first thing what I like to tell you, if you can do that, try to do it regularly. Try to study regularly, not just time to time before the class. One day before the text exam, it won't help because it can be extremely complex. First, second, you won't remember anything because the way how we can remember anything, we need to build up connections in our brain. If we are doing some speed learning in the last moment, in the last minute, in the last night, there is no time to build up connections because you don't have time to think about it, don't have time to connect to other areas. If you want to remember something, one of the key elements to connect it to different things, what you already know. And if you can connect that new thing to the old things, what is in your mind, you will remember. And then this connections makes it long-lasting. It's very important. Second, answer the questions. Those questions what I send around. If you disagree with those questions, happy to discuss with you. I hope it is not a list of dumb questions. If you would know the answers for that, I hope you will be more richer. You will know more about the world, especially in this field, this AI field. Third thing, if you will start to study, don't just jump in it right away. First, think about it. Do you know anything about it? Do you agree your opinion, or there is sort of totally different? Somebody else is more answer those questions better than you. If you will think about it before your study, it builds up also a good connection in your mind. You will remember much better. You will form your personal opinion. Those 100 elements in your list, what I sent you, I hope most of them is that kind of topic what you can discuss with your friend or girlfriend. Late night in a dorm, or at home, or sitting in a coffee house. Your friend can ask any of those questions, and I wish that you can answer it correctly. Not easy answer always correctly, so I need to study. Always ask questions. Always ask questions. Because you have questions, you already have attention. Because you want to get the answer. And if you have attention, this is also a key element to remember something. If you are bored, the things can just fly away from you. But if you have attention, then you are tuned on it. Then you can learn it. where to find answers. We are in a very fortunate situation. It wasn't available even 5 years ago. Definitely not 10 years ago, and not definitely decades ago when I was in your age. If I wanted to get an answer, I had to go to the library. And I had to dig through some catalogs, and finally, if I was lucky, I was able to find a book or the journal, and I had to look it through manually, and finally I got the answer. Now it is much faster, much more convenient. You can sit in your bed, and within seconds or minutes you can find your answer if you have a good question. Please do it. Please use your web efficiently. And try to limit your attention, because sometimes we have distractions. Some other interesting things jumped in, and we are distracted, we go that way. Try to focus. Try to focus on what you get an answer. And if you had the answer, you can later on you can go somewhere else. And if you learn something, try to train your brain to make connections. Think about it is connected to what? There is any relationship to some other area what you already know. Because if you think like that, you will be able to make new inventions. Because the new situation, somehow the key to get a new innovation. What you already knew before, but you are using in a different situation. And if you are using that, oh, this is how it works. And the final two recommendations, not easy in this pandemic area, the pandemic time. But if you have a chance, please make a study group. Find some friend with you, or friends, at least one. Maybe better to have more than one. And study with him or her. It can be fascinating, much more interesting to study alone. Sit in front of the computer and just read it, or listen to videos. If you have a chance to discuss with someone, it's a really great thing. Please do it. And finally, it is also very important, if my most important person would sit in this room and he or she would ask me, what should I do? Because I'm in a school and I like to achieve something good in my life, I like to do something good, I like to learn efficiently, what should I do? My answer would be, find a project. Find a project for yourself, what you are interested in. Any project, any kind of project. Good thing, informatics can be applied for almost anything, what we can do as humans. Technical things, social things, music, whatever. Video, whatever, I can list it. So if you have a good topic to focus on, it will guide your whole study, rest of your study in a school, or rest of your life. Because if you have a focus point, you can select the information. We are always overwhelmed with information, many things around us. We need to somehow select what we are dealing with or not. If you have a project, you can decide in any course, this course is good for your project or not. If not, skip it, leave it, go somewhere else. Find something else, what is available. Unless it is mandatory. If it is mandatory, you do something. Learn the basics thing and you will pass it. But if you are interested, if somehow it is connected to the topic, what you have, then it's a great for you. Not easy to get good topic, very hard to get a good topic, but search it. And if you are fortunate to get a good research or good project to work on, you are more or less done, because it will guide you. There are three major so-called soft compute paradigms in AI. One is the artificial neural networks, the most popular these days, so-called deep learning. We will learn why it is deep and how the learning is done automatically. And there is a very important search method in nature, so genetic algorithms. We are going to understand at least the basics, how the nature search for something useful, and we can apply it for technology. And then there is a new area, relatively new area in a computer field called fuzzy logic. We will learn the basics. Most of the time we think the word is binary, zeros or ones, or truth or false. but it's not the case if we go close. If we go very close, we will see the intermediate values. Partially true, partially false. And there's a technology for that, so-called fuzzy technology. We are going to learn the basic. This is what I can offer for you and show you the connection between these elements. The classical AI, classical artificial neural networks, focused on these elements. Search methods. If you know the answer for the question, we don't need to search for it. But if you don't know the answer, we need to find it. And how to find it? We need to go place to place and find the answer. And there is a huge field in the computer science field called search methods, search algorithms, how to search efficiently. We are going to learn the basics, or at least I will mention some very basic methods how to do it, to introduce the genetic search, to understand the parallel search. Predictions using classical logic. Classical logic has several thousand years roots. Very interesting, very productive in science. But our focus changed ever since the new technology arrived. Some mathematical theorem proving was a very important area. Rule-based systems using human rules, plan generating systems, object representation, how to represent something in a computer, artificial intelligence languages, for example, Prolog or some others, games, image processing. This is the basic list of the classical artificial intelligence. So when I graduated in this school many decades ago, I got a computer engineering degree. And I had an idea, I like to learn more, not just by myself. I like to go to school. So I entered the school again. I studied for 6 years to learning psychology. You can ask why psychology? Because that time in Hungary, the psychology was physiology-based, not starting from the behavior, starting from how the brain works. And I was interested to learn how the brain works. And I studied many areas in it. It was very fascinating for me. Since my aim was to understand how the brain works, it guided me. And I made many good projects within this situation, and it helped me to study efficiently. And that time it was kind of not traditional approach. When I talked to my colleagues, said, do you want to do something in artificial intelligence? Study this list of things, logic or something. And I was not interested to study logic. I had to study 4 semesters in a school. It was not my favorite. I passed it, but it was not my favorite area. I wanted to understand the neural networks. I wanted to understand the genetic algorithm, something like that. And as much as I was able to understand, since I was a teacher in this school, I started to teach these areas, and doing that ever since. And that time, I was just like in this bird at the end of the row. Because in most other universities in Hungary studied or taught the regular method, regular artificial intelligence. And I was not something unique, I was just different. I was looking in a different direction. It is very fascinating for me these days to recognize the world has changed like this today. Everybody is looking at neural networks. Because the big area in the artificial intelligence field, the deep learning, the machine learning. Machine learning is based on neural networks. Something like that. This is the most common. This machine here, what talks to us, based on artificial neural networks too, mainly. So it was the beginning. And when I had to figure out what to teach in this area, what are those elements, I had to figure out what will be that. My conclusion was the following. First, I need to learn how sensor works, because the sensor is the input. If we want to be intelligent, meaning that solve problems efficiently, this is intelligence, solve problems efficiently, we need to be able to sense the situation. To sense the situation, to sense the problem, we had to understand how the sensor works. And we had a very good reference, the biological sensors, and these days we can see the revolution of sensors, unbelievable sensors. Laser-based, radar-based, many different kind of technology used for make a good sensor. For example, microphone, special, not just one, many. For example, if I stand here and I will say, Alexa, what time is it? It shows I am here. If I go over
The
there,
time is 1:22 p.m.
Alexa,
Here's the story.
Alexa, stop. You see, it senses I'm here. And how it can sense? Because there are many microphones in it, not just one. And it measures the strength of the signal, what I'm talking, and somehow it positions me. Maybe listens better in this direction than the other direction, because they can learn I'm here, and somehow they need to filter out the noise. And the noise is coming from there, I'm here. It is one basis to filter out the noise. Something like that. Fascinating. Next thing is the information processing. Any device or any creature who want to be intelligent, or we want to make it intelligent, need to have a very powerful processor on it. Good thing these days, it is evolving extremely fast, so we have a very, very powerful processor in our cell phones. Much more powerful than way back a big computer size, or room size of computer. Unbelievable. The next one is the knowledge. We need to use knowledge. These days, we live in a data area. We have vast amounts of data around us. All of the sensors around us, cameras, microphones, typed in data, anything what is around us, will flow into the system and the internet can access it. And this is one of the basic elements for building any intelligent, the vast amount of data. And then the ability to learn, because if the system is showing any performance, we want to improve it. There had to be a mechanism inside how to learn automatically. The good thing in artificial neural networks is it's automatic. We don't need to tune it by ourselves, by hand. We need to provide the data, and based on the data, it can learn extremely fast. The next one is the communication. These days, we live in a info communication area. Just let me tell you very briefly the evolution of this thing. Basically, there were mechanical engineers or construction engineers who built roads or temples or buildings, and it was way back for 1,000 years. A little later, some 1,000 years ago or so, there was a new profession called mechanical engineers who were interested for using mechanical things, machines. And in the 19th century, just almost 1 century ago, there appeared a new profession called electrical engineer. Those engineers were interested to do something with electricity. The electricity really started at the end of the 1800s. And in the middle of the 19th century, there became a new profession called computer engineers. Those engineers were interested on a computer, special kind of electronic machines, computers who can process information. And now this process is going on because now these days we have software engineers, we have interface engineers, we have data management engineers, we have user interface engineers, we have data security engineers or something like that. It is evolving extremely fast. And now the communication is built in our devices. In any device what we have around us have a communication channel. Because without communication it cannot be smart. We cannot connect it to the rest of the world, and we are using that on an everyday basis. It is fascinating. So before I like to go forward, I'd like to mention to you 5 minutes break. Take a breath outside if you can, and 5 minutes from now I'd like to continue. Thank you very much. Take a short break.